Okay, today's daf is Shabbat daf Lamed. We're going to start at the bottom of Kaftet Amabet at the Mishnah. I just want to say for everyone listening, I'm going to start recording. A bunch of people have asked me, particularly because of 3 days of Chag in America, to put up some of the shiurim before. So I'm already going to record this morning. After I finish this, I'm going to record the daf for Pesach. So for the first day of Pesach, so that everyone can already figure today's Sunday, it's a good day, people can start listening. It's very short and quick, so I'm going to do kind of a short shiur that'll help everybody to kind of keep in touch with things. It's not so much connected, so you can listen to it out of order. And I'll put that up today, and hopefully soon I'll be able to put up also the day for Friday. Okay, and then the Shabbat daf I'll put up after Shabbat like I usually do. Okay, so hopefully that will help people in Chutz La'aretz who have a bunch of days, and people here also in Israel who want to do the Pesach daf beforehand. Okay, starting from the bottom, we have a very long daf, very interesting daf from the Mishnah. Hamechabet haner mipnei shu mityareh, mipnei nochrim, umipnei listim, mipnei ruach ra'am, mipnei hacholeh she'yishan patur. There's all sorts of ways where we allow you to extinguish a candle. Now, theoretically, this sounds strange. Extinguishing a candle is one of the melachot, mechabe. You're not allowed to extinguish. So how can we allow extinguishing a fire? For various reasons. First, let's go through the reasons, and then we'll talk about why extinguishing is a little bit different from all the other melachot. So the reasons they allow you to do it is if you're scared of nechurim, non-Jews. Okay, this could be one of two things. Generally, we think of it like the way we think of in Russia, way back when people, not so long ago past, when people would not be allowed to even light candles. If they did, they'd get caught, thrown in jail for practicing Judaism. But also the Zoroastrians, which was the religion of the Romans at the time and other people around, it was kind of the Avodah Zarah religion. They also worshipped the light. So therefore, there was something about they worshipped fire, and by us lighting our fires, that was kind of an affront to them. And also there were issues because of that. Rashi says in a bit of a different way, like the Parsiim. He says specifically it was when they had a Yom Chag, you were only allowed to light the light in the Beit Avodat Elilim, because he specifically narrows it to holidays of theirs. But anyway, there's all different interpretations as to why. But it could be you don't want them to see, so you can put out the light. It sounds like danger issues. Mipnei listim, if there's robbers, you don't want them to know you're there, so you want to put out the light. Ruach ra'ah, again, we get back to the world of shedim and things that we don't understand so much. Or because of a choleh that needs to sleep. Okay, now a choleh needing to sleep, question is that really pikuach nefesh, right? Do we really know he needs to sleep? He can't sleep because the light's on, but we seem to allow it. The Gemara is going to have a whole discussion. What type of choleh? Is it a choleh there's two types of cholim. Choleh that has sakana or choleh that doesn't have sakana. There's one that's more dangerous or one that's not dangerous. So, meaning it's on his deathbed or not on the deathbed. So now, we allow this for all these reasons. What's different about extinguishing a fire? Well, this goes back to the category we say, malacha she'einat tzricha legufa. In general, why was extinguishing a fire a malacha? Just like soter, knocking down a building is a malacha, but it's only a malacha if you're doing soter al manat livnot. You're destroying something in order to rebuild. So likewise, extinguishing is only when it has a positive aspect, which is, we talked about the other day, they would make, or one of the possible reasons for extinguishing was they would light the wick, and then they would take the soot that comes from it, and they would use it to make the ink. So that would be a positive use of extinguishing. Here you're doing it because you just don't want the fire, you want the darkness. So that's called the malacha she'einat tzricha legufa. And then we have a whole machloket about malacha she'einat tzricha legufa. Is it chayav midoraita or only midorabanan? And then the question is, right, so first of all, does this hold like Rabbi Yehuda, who says it's doraita, or do we hold like Rabbi Shimon? And Rabbi Shimon says it's patur aval asur. And here we're going to see that the Mishnah says patur, but it's going to really mean, patur here means mutal. And this is one of those cases where, I mentioned this in the past, we'll see it more, where the Gemara is going to assume patur means patur aval asur, okay, which means it's forbidden from the rabbis, but permitted by the Torah. But they're going to then say, no, this clearly here, it means mutar, and how could it be? And they're going to question that. And that's because to the Gemara already, they had this terminology of patur means patur aval asur, exempt, but not fully exempt. Whereas in the time of the Mishnah, that terminology wasn't so clear cut. And they used the word patur or mutar interchangeably, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not permitted. Okay, because normally patur, according to the Gemara, they always think it means not permitted, but here we're going to see that it really means it's permitted entirely. And we're going to have to see exactly why. Okay, next line. As opposed to the first cases where we allow you to extinguish it, if you're doing it because you want to save the oil, or you want to save the wick, or you want to save the candle, you can't do it for that reason. Kechas, there's a whole interpretation. What does it mean? Chas usually means to have rachmanut. You're worried that you're pitying it. Doesn't really mean pity. It's not like you have emotions toward this. It means you want to protect it. But in Safrai's book, he claims that maybe it doesn't mean kechas. First of all, he says the word kechas, it should be hachas, the one who is, chas on these things. But he gives an example in the Haggadah where we use, and I thought it was nice to mention now, kid doesn't mean like what it normally means, like. Okay, for example, the Chacham, we say to him, "Afata morlo ki hilchot haPesach." Doesn't mean like the hilchot haPesach. It means the hilchot haPesach. So here the kaf is used in the same way. That's one explanation of his. The other is the kechas isn't used as a kit like. It's meant kechas is the kaf is part of the root, and the root kechas comes up in other places, and it means to cover. And what you mean here is he wants to cover the light. And then the issue becomes, and then the halachic issue becomes more interesting. Because then what are you doing? You're covering it, and it's indirectly extinguishing the fire, right? This is like a classic science experiment, right? Take a candle, put a cover on it, there's no more oxygen, it'll burn out. And then it's saying, even if you want to do it that way, it's still forbidden, okay? Even indirect kiboy is still kiboy, okay? And then it would be, you're either covering the candle, or Kechas al Hashem would have to be a little trickier according to this. You'd have to say somehow he puts in like something that separates between, let's say, a board that will separate, that's not flammable, I guess, that would separate between the oil and the wick to kind of cut it off. And Kechas al Ptila, again, would be covering the wick. Rabbi Yossi poter bekulan. He thinks these are all allowed. All those cases, again, if you say it's indirect, that makes a lot of sense. Chutz min ha'ptila, other than the ptila, why mipnei shu oseh pecham? Now we're going to have to say that Rabbi Yossi must hold like Rabbi Shimon, who holds that it's malacha she'eina tzricha legufa. And because of that, he says it's patur because it's not a asur midoraita. Okay, moving on to the Gemara now. We'll get more into detail. Mitikatani sefa chayav shma mina Rabbi Yehuda. Because in the second case, okay, there's 3 lines to the Mishnah. There's the first line about the cases where it's allowed, the second line of the cases where it's not allowed, and the third line, which is Rabbi Yossi, who exempts all the cases other than the wick. So they say, the fact that it says that those cases you're chayav, shma mina Rabbi Yehuda. It sounds like this is all according to Rabbi Yehuda, who holds malacha she'eina tzricha legufa, because again, all these cases you're doing it not because you want the pecham, the soot from there, or some other reason, but it's because you just don't want the candle to be lit. So that's a malacha she'eina tzricha legufa, and we say chayav unless you have some reason to allow it, so it must be Rabbi Yehuda. But Reisha b'mayas kinam. But if it's Rabbi Yehuda, then what's the case in the first case where we say it's patur? If it's a choleh who's dangerous, and if you don't put out the light, the person might die or get sicker, well then it should say mutar. And this is what I said, that the Gemara is going to assume patur means you're exempt, but you shouldn't do it. But really it should say mutar, because you should be allowed to do something for a choleh that's in a dangerous position. And if it's a choleh who's not endangered, now according to Rabbi Yehuda, it's malacha she'eina tzricha legufa, and he holds malacha she'eina tzricha legufa is chayav. Right? We don't make special dispensations for someone who has a headache, let's say, right? That's a choleh she'en bo sakana. So you be chayav chatat mibayile. So therefore, what is the situation? So they say la'olam b'choleh sheyesh bo sakana ubedin hi delitnei mutar. It really should have said mutar. But now why did it say patur instead of mutar? Because the sefer said chayav, therefore the reisha said patur. It's just a literary thing to compare to chayav, right? The opposite of chayav is generally patur. So that's why they really mean mutar. The haditani Rabbi Yoshaya, but now there's a bright by Rabbi Yoshaya that says, "Im b'shvil ha'cholesh yishan lo yichabeh v'im kiba patur v'lasur." But what do you see here? Here's a source, which sounds just like our Mishnah. If it's in order to allow the sick person to sleep, you can't put it out. But if you did you're exempt from the Torah, but not from the rabbis. And there it says it explicitly that patur is patur v'lasur. So the way we explain that is very simply, that source isn't the same as our Mishnah, even though it looks exactly the same. It's becholesh she'ein bo sakana. And Rabbi Shimon, you say, our Mishnah, we already said the author must be Rabbi Yehuda because the middle case was chayav. And according to Rabbi Shimon, that would all be malacha she'en tzricha legufa, you'd be patur. So therefore, the bright that Rabbi Yashai brings must be Rabbi Shimon, and that's why there's patur v'lasur. But according to Rabbi Yehuda, you're not going to have patur v'lasur. It's either chayav or it's pikuach nefesh, and we're going to matir it. Okay? So that's how we explain the two different sources. Okay. Now we get to the interesting story for today's daf. It's going to be a very long drasha. We're going to start with Shaul she'ela zo le'ilam Rabbi Tanchum. They asked the following question of Rabbi Tanchum, Dimid Naveh. He was from Naveh. Ma'u lechabot butzina dinura mekame be'isha b'shabta. Can you put out a candle? Can you put out a candle because of a sick person on Shabbat? You're allowed to extinguish a flame for a sick person. So, you ask a question. Sometimes you get a really long answer. Patach v'amar. He starts off his drasha like this. You can imagine a rabbi or someone speaking in shul, and he gets up to give his drasha, and he starts off in a very strange way. On Shlomo, you're Shlomo, okay, as if he's talking to the community, as if they're Shlomo HaMelech, okay, and he's basically going to speak as if he's speaking directly to Shlomo HaMelech. An chachmatcha, an suchlanutcha. Where is your chokhmah? Where is your, this word means, suchlanutcha. Sorry, but it's like, where is your, second here, right. Where is your tfuna, your understanding? Okay, where are you coming from? Okay, he's basically going to say, Shedvarecha sotrim divrei David avdecha. Oh, sorry, lo dayecha shedvarecha sotrim divrei David avdecha. Avicha, is it not enough that you contradict David, your father? Ela shedvarecha sotrim ze et ze. But you contradict yourself. Okay, this is classic about Sefer Kohelet, and we're going to get at the end of today's stuff to the fact that they wanted to get rid of Sefer Kohelet. Okay, they didn't want it to be as part of the Sifrei Tanakh because of contradictions. So he says, right, where did you contradict David, and then where did you contradict yourself? So let's go. Where is it? David Avicha Amar Lo. Remember that Kohelet is attributed to Shlomo as well as Mishle, which we're going to get to later. And David Tehillim is attributed to David. So in Tehillim it says, David Avicha Amar Lo Hamitim Hallelujah. The dead are not going to be able to praise you, meaning, right, it's praising life. People who are living are the best because the dead people can't praise God. The Atamar, and you said in Kohelet, you said, and I, right, who are the people who are the most praiseworthy? The dead people, the ones who lived before us. And then you contradicted yourself because you said, another pasuk from Kohelet. Better a dead dog than a live lion. So you seem to say that live people are better than dead people, but before that you said the dead people are the best. So lokashya. Okay, remember, I just want to remind you so you don't forget where we're coming from. It was all a question about, can you extinguish a fire on Shabbat for a sick person? We're going to have to get to later what the connection is. So lokashya, hadika amar David, lo amitimi hallelujah, hachi kamar. לעולם יעסוק אדם בתורה ומצוות קודם שימות, שכיוון שמת בטל מן התורה ומן המצוות, ואין לקדוש ברוך הוא שבח בו. Better, right? When you're alive, you can do mitzvot. When you're dead, you can't do mitzvot anymore, right? That's why we say you can't ritzi seed or something in a baked farro because it's lo eid larash. They can't keep mitzvot anymore. So once you're dead, you won't be able to do Torah, you won't be able to do mitzvot, and God won't be able to be praised through you, like make a kiddush Hashem, basically. So therefore, live people are better than dead people because they have the opportunity to do mitzvah. Behind Rabbi Yochanan is exactly as Rabbi Yochanan says, "My dichtiv b'meitim chofshi." Okay, this is a pasuk. You might think this is good. This is a good question to ask at your seder, right? About freedom. Is freedom always a good thing? So, b'meitim chofshi kamo chalalim shofei kever asher lo zachartem od behema miyadcha nigzaru. It's a negative thing. Dead people are free. What does it mean they're free? What's negative about it? Kevan shemet adam nasa chofshi min haTorah u'min hamitzvot. Right? You're free from Torah and mitzvot. That's not necessarily a good thing because Torah and mitzvot give us a lot of strength and you no longer have the opportunity to the schuyot to be able to do the schut. You're not allowed to do that anymore. That's a bad thing about being dead. So that's what David means. Okay, so what did Shlomo mean? So what did he mean by that? Well, that's a totally different context. What he meant was like this. We're going to bring 3 examples. Right? When the Jews sinned in the desert, Moshe had all these prayers for the people, and he wasn't answered. But then what did he say? He said, wait, but remember our fathers, who are obviously, they were dead at that point. And he was answered, right? That's obviously the great thing that Shlomo said. What he meant was that basically we're not as great as our ancestors. Our ancestors were greater than us, and not because they're dead, but because they were our ancestors. They came before us, they were better, and that's what we're talking about. Another case, Tavar Acher, Minago shel Olam, Sar basav adam gozer gzera, Safek mekaymin ota, Safek ein mekaymin ota. When we have a ruler nowadays, what does he do? He institutes some sort of ordinance, and maybe people keep it, maybe they don't. V'im timtzalom are mekaymin, and even if people are mekaymin ota, v'chayav mekaymin ota, v'moto ein mekaymin ota. If someone issues an ordinance nowadays, people will listen to them maybe when they're alive, but certainly not once they die. So v'ilu Moshe Rabbeinu, okay, and now we're going to again learn something great about the Meitim. What's interesting is Moshe was the Chayim in the first pasuk, he was the live one. Now we're going back to how Moshe, now compared to us, who's no longer alive, and even in the time of the time of the Gemara, v'ilu Moshe Rabbeinu gazar kama gzerot v'tiken kama takanot v'kayamot hen la'olam lo me'olamim. Look at certain things that Moshe instituted that are still happening today. So what do you see? Again, our ancestors are greater than we are. That's what he meant when he said it. Third interpretation. This is more similar to the first one. So what happened with David? David said, I want you to make me a sign that you're forgiving me for my sin. Okay? Amar David lifnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Actually, first they just quote the pasuk. We'll explain it. But the pshat of the pasuk is, right? This is also Tehillim. Make a sign with me, and my sunim will see, and they will tremble from. Right? They'll be scared of me. So Amar David lifnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ribono shel olam, mechol li al oto avon. Please forgive me for the sin of Bathsheba. Amar lo machu lecha. God says, okay, I've forgiven you. Amar lo, asemi ot b'chayai. Please make me a sign in my lifetime so that everybody will know, right? It's very nice you forgave me, but not everyone's going to know, and they're going to go around accusing me. So I want people to know that you forgave me. Amar lo, b'chayecha eini modia. B'chayesh shlomo bincha ani modia. I'm not going to do it in your life. I'm going to do it in the life of your son, Shlomo, once you're already dead. When did this happen? So we're going to have a long story about this. Kishabana Shlomo at Beit HaMikdash. Okay, now there became a technical problem. He wanted to bring the Aron into the Beit Kodesh HaKodashim, but according to something I read, which makes a lot of sense to me, okay, we're going to see what happened was the Aron, the space of the Aron, right, the width of the Aron was the exact same as the width of the doorway. So he couldn't get it through the doors. Okay, the way the Midrash explains it is they kind of make the walls come to life, and they're even going to speak, we're going to see. Okay, classic Midrash. So he wanted to put the Aron through. Davku sha'arim zeh bazeh. Okay, it's like the walls closed in and wouldn't let the Aron in. Again, I think the interpretation is more that it just didn't fit through exactly. Amar Shlomo 24 rinanot v'lo na'ana. He gave 24 prayers, like praises of God, and he wasn't answered. Right? This appears in Devrei Yamim, these 24 prayers he said, and he wasn't answered. Patach v'amav. Okay, now you're going to have an explanation if you ever wondered this. In the David Mizmor that we say all the time when the Torah is put away, not on Shabbat morning, but on all other days, and in Mincha of Shabbat, and we say it on Rosh Hashanah at night, we say it a lot, where it says, Su'u sha'arim rashechem v'inasu pitchei olam v'yavo melech hakavod. Right? Have you ever noticed that Mizmor is very weird? Because then it says, if you're not reading in your siddur and you're trying to do it by heart, you sometimes get confused because the psukim are very similar. Right? That pasuk appears with a bit of a minor variation at the end also. So we're going to see what exactly, we're going to now say that Mizmor Tehillim is a conversation that went on between Shlomo HaMelech and the walls that wouldn't let the Aron through at the time of the dedication of the Beit HaMikdash. So here goes. Shlomo said, Su'u sharim rashechem. Here's his tefillah to get the doors open. V'nas'u petchei olam v'yavo melech hakavod. Right? So, and let the melech hakavod come through. Now, what did they think he meant? Now, theoretically, he's the melech hakavod. So, rahatu b'trei lemivlei. They wanted to swallow him up. They said, who do you think you are? Amru, they said to him, Mihu ze melech hakavod. So they kind of asked him, who's this melech hakavod you're referring to? Amar lehu. So now what's the next pasuk? Hashem izuz v'gibor. Right? He said, I'm talking about God, not about me. Chazar v'amal. So then he said, now to be more specific so they know exactly what he means, Su'u sharim rashechem, u'su'u petchei olam v'yavo melech hakavod. And then what does it say? Mihu ze melech hakavod, Hashem tzvaot hu melech hakavod selah. Okay, now we see, why was he saying that? To make it very clear that I didn't mean myself, but I meant God. Okay, so the first time he said he wasn't clear enough, the second time he made it much clearer. And you think now they'd open the doors, but lo na'ana, no, still no good. Kevan shamal, and this is very similar to the previous one, and this to the one about the first one about Zchor Abraham Yitzchak Yaakov. So here also now he says, and this appears in Sefer Devarim, the whole account of what happened in the Chanukah Mishkan appears in Sefer Melachim, and it also appears in Sefer Devarim in Chronicles. And there it says, the very last verse before, the second to last verse before, it says that basically Kvod Hashem came down. It says, Hashem Elokim al tashem mishpinei mishichecha, zachra lechastei David avdecha. Remember the chasadim of David. Why does he say that right before the end? It must be he needed to get, right, there was some need for mentioning David's name for prayer, right? And it's because, according to this midrash, he needed the doors to open. Miyad na'ana, okay, and therefore, because of the zchut of David who was dead, he was answered. B'ota sha'a ne'epchu pnei kol sonei David kishulei pteah. All of his enemies turned black, like the blackening of when you have a pot that becomes blackened from the fire. And then it was known to everybody, and that comes to explain the first pasuk. This is a classic World of Drasha, where they're bringing a pasuk there, they're bringing a pasuk there, they connect them all and make a story out of it. That explains when David said, "Aseimi ole tova v'yirusei sonai v'yevoshu," and all my enemies will basically be put down. Right? This is it. It happened at the Chanukah Hamikdash. Behind Dechtiv, and this is where it says, Bayom Hashmini, and now we're switching back. We keep going back and forth like the World of Drasha. We're now back to Sefer Melachim, okay, where it's described there. It says, Bayom Hashmini shalach et ha'am v'yibrachu et hamelech. So on that day, I think I skipped. I skipped a line, going back for a minute. Okay, we're about 10 lines from the bottom. Below Yafel Mar Shlomo, right? So here you see, it wasn't it right that Shlomo said, "V'shabech ani et hamitim shechvar metu." Here you see the dead people like David HaMelech were the ones who allowed the Aron to go through and Shlomo's prayer to be answered. And then they say, "Behind Dechtiv, Bayom Hashmini shalach et ha'am v'yibrachu et hamelech v'yechulu aleihem smechim v'tovei lev al kol hatava asher asa Hashem l'David avdo l'Yisrael amo." So now we're going to darshan this pasuk. And on the 8th day of the celebration, he sent everybody home. They blessed the king. They went to their tents, happy, tovei lev. They were good-hearted. They felt good in their hearts on all the good that Hashem did to David Avdo and to Yisrael Amo. So we're now going to darshan all the parts of this pasuk. Vayachul alehem shematzu nishotehem b'tahara. They went home to their tents. Tents are always a reference to sexual relations. They went home to their tents and they found their wives were all pure, meaning right they could be with their wives. Smechim shedehenu miziv hashchina. They have benefited from having the shchina there. Tovei lev shenidabru nishotehen shel kol echad ve'echad b'yalda zachar. It's always we talk about right the male children. All the wives got pregnant that night and they had male children. Al kol tova asher it was good that the men didn't have to always marry women the same age, right? Maybe this is where it comes from. There were no women that age. Al kol tova asher asa Hashem l'David avdo shemachalo alo toavon. Here we have the reference that. What was the? You think about it. And this again explains a strange pasuk. If you looked at that pasuk, you said, what good did Hashem do to David on that day? David wasn't even alive. It's that he got forgiven. Again, you have to remember, this is tangential to our story. Our story is the zchut of David was what Shlomo got answered for. But in order to tell that whole story, you had to come in the context of he was forgiven for that sin. Okay, there's a whole interesting thing, but we're not going to get into the details. But that year, they didn't actually keep Yom Kippur because they were doing the celebrations of the temple, and it went through Yom Kippur, and they didn't celebrate Yom Kippur, and they were worried that maybe they weren't going to be forgiven for that, but they were forgiven. Okay. Now, okay, so that related to the pasuk of David. Okay, again, David said, Lo amitimi, hallelujah. You're not going to do mitzvot. It's not so good to be dead because you can't do mitzvot anymore. Shlomo said, the meitim are good because we have zchuyot because of them, right? Our prayers get answered. Now, and they kind of are better than we are. Now, what about this pasuk? So how do we explain that pasuk? Now we're going to have a whole other story. Rav Yehuda Amarav, Rav Yehuda Amarav, my diktiv hodi'eni Hashem kitzi umidat yamai mahi ed'am machadal ani. Okay, this is a pasuk from Tehillim again, where it's referring to David, and he said to God, I want to know when, okay, we're going to explain all the sections right now. Amar David lifnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Ribbono shel Olam, God, hodi'eni Hashem kitzi, I want to know what's going to happen to me in the end of my days. Amar lo, sorry, I don't give out that information. Classified. Midat yamai mahi, okay, at least tell me how many years I'm going to live. Sorry, I don't do that either. So what's this? Amar lo, he said he wants to know what day of the week I'm going to die. So God's willing to at least tell him that. Amar lo b'Shabbat tamut, you're going to die on Shabbat. So David says, Amut be'echa b'Shabbat. How about Sunday? It's a better day to die. Why? Well, if you die on Shabbat, they leave your body out. They can't do anything with it. They can't bury you that day. It's a bit disgraceful. So I'd rather die on Sunday. Amar lo, sorry, kvar higia malchut Shlomo bincha, and we learned this already. Ve'em malchut nogat b'chaverta chafilu kimlo nima. It's his time to rule. It's his time to rule. Sorry, but there can't be any, right? There's no crossover. If it's his time to rule, you have to die. There's nothing we can do about it. He's supposed to rule that day. No can do. So what does David say? Amut be'erev Shabbat. So let me die a day earlier. Fine, I won't get into Shlomo's malchut. What do I care? One day of my life, I'll die a day earlier. Amar lo, ki tov yom b'chatzerecha me'alef. I prefer, and this is a great line, I prefer one day of yours than 1,000 others. What does that mean? Meaning, right, your life is so important. I love you being alive. I want you to be alive that day. I don't want to kill you one day early. Why does he say this? What's this elef? It's a great line. Tov li yom echad shata yoshev v'osek b'torah me'elef olot shatit Shlomo bincha lakriv lefanai al gabei mizbeach. Right? All the sacrifices that Shlomo's going to be able to bring, that's nothing in comparison with one day of your learning Torah. And this is, again, this goes back all those Gemaras we saw in Brachot, how important learning Torah is, and that's more important than sacrifices, maybe even than prayer, right? This is kind of strengthening that whole thing. Okay, well, what did David do? He knew he was going to die on Shabbat. Now, if you know you're going to die on Shabbat, you could try to prevent it. It's interesting, even though it says when your time comes, your time is going to come. It's going to be Shlomo's time, but he wanted to push off dying. So Kol Yom HaDeshabta, every single Shabbat, Havayati V'garis Kule Yoma. He would learn all day long. Hahu Yom HaDevai L'menach Nafshe. Came the day he was supposed to die. Obviously, he didn't know this. Kam Malach HaMavet Kameh. So Malach HaMavet comes. Below Yachile, but he couldn't kill him. To Lo Havapasik Pume Migirsa, because he just didn't stop learning. Guess he didn't go to the bathroom all day. Amar Mai Avidle. He says, what can I do? The Malach HaMavet says, Havale Bustana Chole Bete. He had a orchard behind his house. Ata Malach HaMavet Salak Ubachish Bilani. So the Malach HaMavet came and made a little noise, a rustling noise in the trees. Nothing in Lemechse. So David HaMelech goes out to check what's going on. Interesting, he didn't have servants. He could have said, go check what's going on. He himself goes out. Have a Salak Bidarga. He trips on a stair, or the stair falls from below and it falls out. If Darga, I explained it right. Have a Salak Bidarga. He goes up the steps to get to the Pardes. If Darga Mitote, it falls from below him. Ishtik, for a second as he's falling. Notice he must have been learning the whole way he was walking. But as he steps and falls, he trips. He's silent for a minute because he's falling. V'nach nafshe, and he dies. Shalach Shlomo lebeit midrash. Okay, Shlomo now goes and asks a halachic question in the Beit Midrash. Abba meitu mutal b'chama. My father's dead. He's lying out in the sun. Even he went outside, worse than anything, right? He's lying out in the sun. You're not allowed to move a dead body because it's muktzah. There's no purpose, no reason to move it. Uklavim shel beit Abba re'evim, and all the dogs in my father's house. Remember the pasuk? It was about the dogs, right? Tov kelev chai mi aryeh mate. Okay, we're going to see. I'll already give you a little sneak preview. The aryeh hamate is going to be David, who's dead, and the kelev chai are going to be these dogs that want to eat him. So the klavim shel beit Abba re'evim, they're hungry. They're going to eat the body. Ma'aseh, what should I do? Shalchule, they send back to him. Now notice, he said, my father's dead and sitting in the sun, which is number one problem. Number two problem, the dogs are going to eat it. The answer is, deal with the dogs, then deal with your father, which maybe is one of the answers to why the kelev achai comes first. And that's why you see the kelev achai is more important. That's one of the reasons why, one of the answers to how they explain this. We'll get to the other one after. But they say, so cut a nevela, right? Take a nevela and put it before the klavim, right? That's a dead animal that it wasn't shechted properly, that we can't eat, but the dogs can eat it. This is always the classic solution, which always seems very weird to put it. Okay, either put a loaf of bread on the dead body or a baby. That seems very weird to put a baby on the dead body. Vitil. And then what happens? You can carry the whole thing because you're carrying it for the purposes of a baby, kind of like you're using the person as a way to support the baby. Has to be. I assume they use a tinok because it has to be something of significance. A kikar also is significant, a loaf of bread. So you can use it to carry them. Then you can carry the dead body. We say agav, because of the thing that's on it. Okay, so below yafam arshlomo kila kelev chai u'tovmin aryeh hameit. Here you see the kelev chai is better than the aryeh hameit. So either because of the order, the other possibility is, notice they said take the nevela, put it out, even though nevela is also muktzah, because you can't really, right? Before Shabbat, you weren't really planning to use this nevela for anything. Now you can take it and give it to the dog, and you didn't have to do any sort of change. You could just carry it normally. But when it came to the dead body, it had to be carried with the shino. So you see here that for the dog, you could do it directly, whereas for the dead body, you had to do indirectly. Okay? So there you have it. Now we've resolved all the contradictions of Shlomo. What does that have to do with our question? Well, now they're getting back to it. Okay, what about your question? Can you put out an air for a sick person? Here comes the answer. Ner kuya ner. Okay, that was obvious. A candle is a candle. In v'nishmato shel adam kuya ner. We also call the neshama of a person ner. Mutav techaber ner shel be'asar v'adam mipnei nero shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Better to put out a candle of a person, meaning an actual candle that a person's using, because of the candle of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, meaning our neshama. Okay, saying the neshama of a person is so important, and that's what we got from these stories, that because of that, right, better to put out a candle, and this is basically another way of saying, right, pikuach nefesh dochesh Shabbat. Now, what's interesting is normally we learn pikuach nefesh dochesh Shabbat not from here. Where do we learn it from? The chai bahem, the lo she'yamut bahem, right? You have to live by the mitzvot and not die by them. And this is very apropos for what we're going through. Anyway, Rashi says very interestingly, why doesn't it say the chai bahem? Why does it say it like this? And why did he bring this whole long story? So he says, he wanted to get the people to understand it through a story. He figured through the story, people will get it. The rest of Rashi you're not going to like as much. But he says, women and non-knowledgeable people would come to the drasha. Again, the women in those days weren't knowledgeable. And he wanted to say, if he just said, okay, and that's a very straightforward drasha, not so interesting. He wanted to say it in an interesting way, so he told this whole long story to get people to realize that this is all about, right, how do you educate people? The best way to educate people, and this is a good lesson for Leila Seder, right? Start with a good story, have the story bring everything in, and we're going to learn even a little bit more about that further on today. Amar Rabbi Yehuda b'rei Rav Shmuel bar Shila mishmei derav. Bikshu chachamim lignos Sefer Kohelet mipnei shedvarav sotrin ze et ze. This is the famous. They wanted to take Sefer Kohelet out of the canonization of the Tanakh because there were contradictory psukim. Umipnei ma lo ganzu. Why didn't they? Mipnei shetchilato divrei Torah v'safot divrei Torah. Some people say they didn't actually really think the psukim contradicted, but they thought that the average person would read it and think it was contradictory, and therefore just kind of throw the book out the window and say, oh, this is not significant. But they said at the beginning it starts with Divrei Torah, it ends with Divrei Torah. What is that? Okay, what is it? What's the purpose of all this? For all the man's work under the Shemesh. What do we darshan from this? It's things after the sun was created are useless, but kodem shemesh yeshlo. Okay, what is that? Things that were from before the sun. What's from before the sun? Okay, there's an assumption that the Torah preceded everything. And therefore, the Torah is the most important thing. And that's what his book starts with. And therefore, that they kept the book. So for Divrei Torah, how does it end with Torah? Divrei Torah, Dichtiv sof davar kol nishma, et Elohim yareh ve'et mitzvotav shmor, ki zeh kol adam, right? At the end of the day, right, everything is heard. And what do you need to do? Fear God and do his mitzvah. Because that's what kol adam. Now, the way they say zeh kol adam, they understand this as this is talking about a person. And now they're going to have three ways of understanding this. Mike is kol adam. Amar Rabbi Elazar, I think it's Elazar. Kol olam kulo lo nivra ele b'shvil zeh. The whole world was only created for a person who's like this. Rabbi Abba Bar Kahana Amar shakul zeh k'neged kol olam kulo. Not that the world was created for him, but zeh kol adam means if you put that adam and everybody else, right, they'll be weighted equally. Shimon ben Azai Omer, v'amar la Shimon ben Zoma Omer, lo nivra kol olam kulo ele litzevet lezeh. Everyone was created to be a partner to this person. In other words, this person is so great that everyone else is kind of part of, and this is about how we're community people. People live together and work together, right? This is what we're all struggling with now. And in order to do things, we need partnership, we need community, and that's what the world was created for, to kind of help this person. Okay. And now that was all why they kept the book. What about the contradictions? One place it says better to be angry than to be happy and laughing. The other place it says l'schok is a good thing. I praise happiness. Right? What is happiness all about? So lo kashya. So first we'll go to the first one. Tov kas mischok. Tov kas shekoes hakadosh baruch hu ala tzadikim ba'olam hazeh. The anger that God has on the tzadikim in this world is good because it kind of atones for all their sins in this world, and then in the next world they get rewarded. From the schok shemisachek hakadosh baruch hu ala rishaim ba'olam hazeh. The anger against the good people is better than the happiness, all the good things God gives to the bad people in this world. The schok that's great is the schok that God has with the tzaddikim in the future. Okay, what's this simcha that's good? Doing a mitzvah b'simcha. Okay, mitzvah gdola liot b'simcha doesn't appear anywhere in the Gemara, but this is kind of the source for it. Okay, that you should do mitzvah b'simcha. The simcha mazeh oseh. What's the negative? Simcha she'ena shel mitzvah. That's other kind of happiness. L'lamdecha she'en shchina shora lo mitoch hatzlut v'lo mitoch hatzlut. The shchina doesn't come when there's sadness, when there's laziness, v'lo mitoch schok, and not joking around, v'lo mitoch kalut rosh, right, being lightheaded, v'lo mitoch sicha, v'lo mitoch dvarim b'telim, ela mitoch zvar simcha shel mitzvah. That's where the shchina comes, when you're doing a mitzvah with happiness. Shneimar v'ata k'chuli minagen v'haya kinagen minagen v'tiyah lav yad Hashem. Right, this is by David. He brought them minagen, and then he would have yad Hashem. Okay. Amar Rav Yehuda v'chein lidvar halacha. Says the same thing with halacha. Okay, here we're going to talk about teaching. Okay, so like I said, apropos le'ela seder. Amar Rava, we'll get to that in a minute. V'chein lechalom tov. Also a good dream. You go to sleep feeling good, you'll have a good dream. Ini, is it really true about dvar halacha? You're supposed to enter into dvar halacha b'simcha. V'hamar Rav Gidol Amar Rav, kol talmid chacham sheyoshev lefnei rabo ve'ein siftotav notvot mal tichvena. If his sfatayim, the student sits before his rabbi, if they're not full of bitterness, like fear, then he'll be burned. His lips will be burned. Shneimar siftotav shoshanim notvot mor over. Al tikre mor over. It's not supposed to be more, which is a spice, over. Ela mar over. Okay, it'll be bitterness will go on his lips. Al tikre shoshanim ela sheshonim. So read it again. Siftotav sheshonim. Mouths that are learning should be notvot mar. Should be full of bitterness, this fear of God. Okay, so lo kasha ha berabba ha b'talmid. The rabbi is supposed to. Okay, how do you start teaching? With a joke, right? Start off with something happy, like, right? That's how you get people to learn. The talmid is supposed to come in fear. The rabbi in excitement and simcha, but the student should be totally fearful when he learns. Maybe both are talking about the rabbi, the loka or the teacher, the lokasha. It's start off in a joking way and then get into the serious, then get everybody. Before he would start his shiur, Amar Milta Dibdichuta. Okay, we're going to see he started with a joke. And then the rabbis all laughed and kind of got into things. After that, he was very serious. Okay, so you start off with a joke, and then you become very serious. Okay, that's all about education. It's a good way. Okay, you could try to think about how you're going to start your seder to get everybody involved. Start with some joke. It's a good way to get everybody started. Sefer Mishlei b'kshulik same thing in Sefer Mishlei. Same question. Amrei Sefer Kohelet laviyayin ve'eshkachan tama. Look, we succeeded with Sefer Kohelet. Hachanami li'ayin. So let's look in more further and we'll find an answer. What are the contradictions? Don't answer a stupid person with his stupid questions. With his stupidity. And then the continuation of that pasuk is because you're going to look as stupid as he is, right? Don't stoop to his level, basically. But then it says you should answer a stupid person with his stupidity. And there the end is pen yeh chacham be'einav. Otherwise, he'll think that he's smarter than you. So how do we explain this? If he asks you questions about Torah in a stupid way, you have to answer him because you have to set the record straight. But if he's asking you about random things, don't answer him. And now we're going to have a whole bunch of examples that we'll continue into tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to get to the famous story of Hillel, where there was this guy that was trying to annoy Hillel with these annoying questions. But here we'll start with a few other ones. Somebody came before Rebbe, Amarle, your wife is really my wife. She's married to me, ubanecha banai. And your sons that you think are yours are really mamzerim. They're mine with your wife. So that was a stupid question. Amarle, you want to drink a cup of wine? Okay, he was trying to kind of divert his question. Shata upaka. The guy drank it, and in classic Talmudic stories, what happened? He died. Okay, for trying to do something like that to Rebbe. Similar story, but instead of saying your wife, he said, Amarle imcha ishti, your mother is my wife, va'ata bani, and you're my son, and you're a mamzer. Amarle, you want to drink a cup of wine? Shata upaka. He drank it, and his stomach exploded. Amar Rabbi Chia, ahanile slote l'Rebbe de lo lishvei b'nei mamzeri de Rebbe. Okay, what protected Rebbe from this mamzerim thing? His tefillot, and this is going to explain one of our tefillot that we say every morning. Ki hava matzle amar yehi ratzon fanecha Hashem Elokeinu shetatzileni hayom me'azei panim u'me'azut panim, from brazen people and from brazenness. Okay, this is a sign of mamzerim, and that saved him from mamzerut because he said that prayer. Okay, but divrei Torah ma'hi. Now let's see 3 examples of divrei Torah where somebody asked a stupid question and he answered him, and you're going to see he didn't really answer him in a real way. He answered him according to the way the stupid person asked his question. That's kind of the answer he gave him. Could have given him a better answer, but that's what it means, answer a stupid person according to stupidity. So, Maihi, what are the answers? We're going to have 3 things that happened before Rabban Gamliel. Rabban Gamliel, the Kadarish Atida Isha Shetele B'chol Yom. He was darshaning all these things that are going to happen in the world to come. So he said, a woman's going to give birth every single day. Shnema Harav Yoledet Yachda. Okay, she's going to be pregnant and giving birth at the same time. This Tamid started mocking him. Amar, En kol chadash tachat hashemesh. Interestingly, he quotes from Kohelet, right? There's nothing new under the sun that's never existed before. It's not going to exist in the future either. Amar le, bo ve'erecha dugmatam ba'olam hazeh. I'll show you something like this. Napak achvele tarnagolet. Okay, this is very relevant. Nowadays, we have an egg shortage in Israel. Okay, he said, here's a tarnagolet, lays eggs every single day. Okay, there's your example. By the way, I'll sneak preview. We're going to get to this in Yoma. There's a famous story of when the people asked to get rid of the Yetzer Hara for Giloi Arayot. And then nobody was having babies. And not only that, but even the tarnagolot weren't laying eggs. So there's this connection between these things also there. Similar thing, the fruits are going to be coming every day. Now, we all know fruit trees have seasons. So, just like the branches grow every day, he said, what are you talking about? We don't know anything like this. He showed him the caper bush, which has there's like 3 stages where one comes out after the other. They're called in Hebrew the avionim, the kafrisin, and then the some other part I forget, but it's you can read, in the Lulavim. Okay, the Quran has a good note about it. If you have the Quran, you can look there, and it shows how it grows, and one grows after the other. So there you see. This is a weird one. Eretz Israel is going to produce bread and fine wool from the ground. Now, bread doesn't grow from the ground. The wheat grows from the ground. Which they explain to be a reference to both. I'm not going to get into how right now, but he shows him mushrooms that grow kind of just randomly, and they can grow within a day, and they look like loaves of bread. Okay, that's what he claims. And the aklei milat, what about fine wool? Navra bar kora, in the hearts of palm that grow in the palm tree. Outside, there's these they're called sibin, like this kind of substance that looks, the fibers that look like woolly substance. And here he says, look, here you see wool can grow out of these trees. So from there, we see that can all happen in the future. Okay, tomorrow we'll see the famous story of Hillel. I actually have a kid's book about it that my kids once got from Pajama Library about all these stories. So anyway, this is a famous story we're going to get to tomorrow.